Well, since President Trump took office, Border Patrol agents have been tasked with enforcing one of the most aggressive immigration crackdowns in U.S. history. The administration's policies have changed the agency's primary task, from intercepting drug runners to blocking thousands of migrant families from entering the country. Well, the New York Times reports a backlash to those policies has caused a morale crisis within the agency. Agents say they're feeling the effects of public outrage over the treatment of detained migrants in crowded facilities. Manny Fernandez is the Houston bureau chief for the New York Times and one of the authors of that story, and he joins me now. So, Manny, did the Border Patrol agents that you spoke to say what it's like to be part of the agency right now and how it's been different?
Well, the main thing that's different for a lot of the agents is that very low morale. And low morale to the point where some of the agents talked about getting some of these outraged comments from family members and from friends and from that their children in school are hearing the comments and then they're bringing the comments back home. So it's a very real sort of existential sort of crisis that these agents are going through right now.
You know, there's clearly more pressure on them. It's apparent this is an issue that's big for the president, big for the White House. When you talk about the influx of migrants in detention centers, how has that sort of strained the Border Patrol agency?
It put a big strain on the agents. I think when you had a lot of, especially a lot of the children who were there, you had a lot of these sort of overcrowded facilities along the border, and a lot of these agents, they have children themselves, and they talked about thinking of their own kids as they would be dealing with the migrant children. And then also there were some agents that told us that they saw other agents sort of grow callous to that and they're dealing with so many numbers. The numbers were so high and those facilities were getting so crowded that in a way they were sort of shutting down, and they weren't, wearing their hearts on their sleeve when it came to handling the migrants.
Has the role of the Border Patrol agent changed since President Trump has taken office?
I think that the job hasn't changed, and sort of what they're supposed to be doing, in a sense, hasn't changed all that much as far as the border security goes. But I think that what's happened is that they have become a little bit more politicized after Trump took office, and they have this sort of they have the ear of the president. The Border Patrol agent union does. And they have this sort of pipeline to the White House, and they have been sort of that's played a role in this sort of politicization that they've had, and they've talked openly about supporting Trump, and some of those comments and some of that stuff is what we saw in the Facebook postings.
You know, you mentioned those Facebook postings. They received a lot of negative attention on this. There were some comments over the summer in these Facebook groups. Some of the agents have have posted demeaning references to migrants. When you look at the culture, this negative culture that's developing within the agency, is it fixable, Manny?
Yes, I think it is. I absolutely think it is. I think about one of the agents who retired told us that he saw those jokes as jokes, and he told us, the jokes aren't the problem. The problem is when you're treating people not like people, and that was the issue to him. And so, I do think it's fixable. I think that some of it is being fixed now. I think
How
that,
so, Manny?
I think that the agency is. Well, I think the agency is more concerned about the bad apples. And finding and rooting out bad apples is something that I think that the agency is focused on, and so I think this is a fixable issue.
And when you talk about this agency, Manny, what do you think? Where does this all head to?
Well, I mean, I think that it's hard to say. I think that the agency has a real problem right now. Sort of making sure the agents they have are are satisfied and are happy in their jobs and aren't taking out their low morale on the migrants themselves. And so I think that it's hard to know. Hopefully those agents can sort of keep things together. And if not, you're going to see more and more of these scandals and controversies that come out where we learn that this agent did this and this agent did that and this agent posted this. And so it's hard to know which way that's going to go.
Manny Fernandez, I want to thank you very much for joining us.